going to discuss the last avenue of spirituality, which is relieving yourself, literally relieving yourself of all the last temptations of the world. It's a most wonderful place to be. It's why, I remember the Upanishads, which simply meant sitting by devotedly. You sit by your rabbi, your teacher, your minister, your dad, your uncle, listening to words of wisdom. You're growing up, you're on a grandparent's lap, whatever. And the Upanishads, which has been written over 5,000 years, covered everything we'll discover today except for one last detail. We could call it, if you're learned in this area, you could call it the mixing and the melding of the East and West, or the idea in Christianity or Judaism of divine providence, meaning that good will out. Not that there's an endless succession of lifetimes and spiritual endeavors that you complete and then move on to the next. We're going to go to the last crossroads. The crossroads in America have always been considered that place where you run into the devil and you make a decision to the right. So I'm going to use myself as an example. I moved to, I don't like to, in all my books, there might be 2 or 3 times you mention myself, but they're all very mystical, but it seems to help. People have asked for that. So I knew in my early 20s that when God would send me over the world to crazy places and people would run into me that were the famous teachers of meditation and spirituality and so on, and wind up here and there with it, or starting institutions, that I was very, 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 very ridiculously humble. But one thing I did know about God and reality and spirituality was, like my friend Whitney or Gracie here, I had already overcome the dark side. I had no doubt of that. So I would be supportive of many different teachers and so on to help take them to the next step, and at the same time did what you did day to day to keep the world going, your place in it. And so I knew that I'd overcome the dark side. And it's taken all these years later to be able to openly discuss it for you, which is why I don't mention me rarely in my life in spiritual areas, because it's as a teacher or whatever, or when I help people or counsel through all these years or empower. But the idea today is that the temptations become more and more subtle, which is why, and basically in the last few weeks of my life, all the people near me are falling apart and doing really stupid things and being tempted into them. And it's why they don't understand why I want to be alone, or I want to go out to a certain restaurant and be alone, not because it's a ritual atmosphere that I have, and I don't take part in the day-to-day circumstance. I don't need to, I don't want to, and I don't have to. But you have to communicate with people. You have to commune from time to time in order to do anything, to achieve, to communicate spiritually. So moving right back to where we open that and join these two thoughts together is the fact that throughout your life you'll be tempted more and more subtly by the force of darkness. And the force of darkness encompasses the fact that all the human beings in the world are tempted to some degree just to be here, except for the holy ones like you, like a Whitney, like a Gracie, people who are so decent that they never really get it in their life, that there's nothing wrong with them, and they don't have to prove themselves, they don't have to make themselves, they don't have to make anything of yourself in this world. Fortunately, I knew that at birth, but still had to act out day to day everything. And again, forgive me for mentioning myself, but being as I know these things inside and out and always have, it's just a time to discuss it for you. Because every spiritual person in the world has only one dream, one thought, one aspiration, one need, and that is to give this, to express this, to share this, to provide this. If it costs their body, their soul, their mind, anything about them, everything they have or could believe or need or want, they give that up every moment looking for a pair of open ears, anywhere, an open heart, anywhere. So you search the heights and the depths of this material universe for someone who wants to care. And so you can run blocking for them, as my buddy Tim would teach. There is a God, there is a condition of spiritual illumination, nirvana. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the world we live in, nothing. The world has traditionally been called an illusion in all the Eastern traditions. Maya, the samsara, the illusion, it's not really here. And if you're very quiet, if you sit devotedly by your teacher, like it says in the Upanishads, and the teacher will instruct how to come to that last phase of illumination. A little different from the Upanishads. I'm not going to say they have endless lifetimes and birth and rebirth. There is an end to it all. The concept of divine providence. You're not here to suffer. One hairline. It's never been meant of God. It's not needed. You give yourself freely to the slings and arrows of the world in order to help a friend and a loved one, to pull them out of the last burning embers, the last burning fires of disbelief and faithlessness. There is a God, there's a place where everything is settled. That's why we spend so many hours alone, when we can. I've done this in the worst conditions imaginable, the very worst, and every other condition. But my one simple joy is to sit down alone at home, quietly. Because the world is not here. It never has been to me. It never could be. I'm part of a volunteer army of decent people, like Gracie, and to just say that all you have to be is kind and decent. There is nothing else. There never could be. So if we're solidly aware of that, then we know that everything, all the shoulds and coulds and would-bes about the world are unnecessary to us. Quietly in our heart, we know it need not be, and then on top of that, we know that Almighty, everlasting, infinite God, our Father, our friend, our brother, our sister, our mother, God is all of that. God will be with us every split second, every moment, wherever, and always has been with us. So we just click in the fact, I don't need to take part, and that Almighty God is my heart, my soul, my Savior, my friend, my buddy, my sister, my brother. God is all these things and so much more. Point being, separate yourself from the world. Learn to relax your breathing, relax your joints with your mind. I can be under any conditions and automatically I'll relax my shoulders, my hips, my knees, my ankles. I don't think about it, but at different points in my life I've done thousands and thousands and developed thousands of methods of doing this. Or if I had clients over, I had them tell me 3 exquisite spiritual experiences they had when they're all shook up about something, and I get the mind somewhere else. The prefrontal cortex is what has traditionally been called the devil. So if you stop listening to your own thoughts and realize nothing is here, and that this is not, so you do it relaxing your joints, relax your thinking mind, relax your breathing. These are very rudimentary stages. That's why you sit quiet in meditation. It's not for any reason or purpose. It's just to sit quietly. And on top of that, on top of the Buddhist view, if we have the idea of divine providence, that good will out, it's not just we're going to be enlightened, then the world will continue. It's you will enlighten the world, which is where we're going with this. You will enlighten the world. Everything and everyone around you will have to stand back And you'll have to stand fast on the mountaintop of glory. So we relax this, that, the other, breathing, relax our thoughts, relax our emotions. When I train people to listen to other people, combat veterans or whatever, it's just, everything has to be relaxed. There's no you, there's no cerebral cortex. You just have all your attention and concern empathetically with the other person. Then what happened? Thank you. Got that. Thank you. I hear you. You know, and if you react to hairline, they'll shut down. But if you don't, your friend, your neighbor will just do this around them. They'll let everything go. They'll feel free for the first time in their life. That's a gift beyond imagination for the whole world. There's no science, no lecturer, no thinker, no great human being or humanitarian that could even conceive of such a thing. You'll know that God himself sits upon the mountaintop of your heart. And you just have to be here, a ray of light from yon distant sun. And that's what you are, is simply a ray of light. I do not, and I've never thought of myself, again, I have to use myself, I have never thought of myself as Robert Rosenberg, ever. Not a moment. I never knew how to figure that out. I know I've done and achieved everything you could do and achieve in this world, and at the same time never felt like anyone for a moment. I've always perceived myself as a ray of light, a very delicate, soft light. No more, no less, nothing different, never changed. And when I see all my friends in this room, Gracie, Whitney, Tim, Rob, I just see this ray of light. I don't see who people are or want to be or think. And I'm saying you can shut it all off. All has been what's traditionally been called the devil or temptation or evil. In the old book they call it the snare of the devil. I want to make that very clear. That will help right now. The snare of the devil means the trap. The traps people get in love affairs, relationships, families, comparing things. All that is the energy and all that happens. That's what the devil is. It's not necessarily an individualized presence, which it certainly is. And I knew first time that appeared to manifest before me with someone who was very famous. It was a very, very impressive being, and I was really thought, well, that's impressive. And at the same time, I knew that, you know, it'd take me a little while to end this for the whole world, but I knew that that being, that evil presence, had messed with the wrong Marine. You know, it's so I'm doing this as you will be doing this for those you love, for your mother first, your father, your family, your friends. And when you find that rare person that's right at the precipice of final enlightenment, nirvana, it'll be your joy to stand shoulder to shoulder and walk over the last snow-capped peak with them, for them, to God, that they become one more ray of light to dispel the darkness. That's why you're born. Forget everything that's been written or thought or said, even in the Holy Scriptures. You are a ray of light from God's sun. It's a beautiful time to exist. This time around, you will fulfill your spiritual destiny. Sitting quietly in your room in the evening, in the morning hours, is the most important thing you will ever have to do. And then you'll see him, the only God. You will become the only God. You have been and will be the only God. You'll perceive yourself It was a softly lit anteroom. There was off the side of the house where you just sit quietly. I've done this at different places and times. I just find a quiet place off from the day-to-day meanderings, and I can sit there quietly. I've done it by garbage cans in South Philly growing up, where no one could see me or feel me, and I could just be quiet. So all you have to do is be quiet. And know that everything that comes your way is a temptation. Every thought, every expression, and the tiniest things that try to get your attention, that's what's the devil. You could say it's an energy field, whatever. One of these thoughts help, but quiet the breathing, relax your joints, sit quietly, and slowly teach yourself to not react to anything. Any noise, any sound, any light, any feeling, any thought. And the dark side will inject very, very subtle temptations towards you, or the people around you will. I've had recently, all the people around me are tempted in little different ways, and it's preventing all of them from being successful in life. And it prevents me from being a spiritual, divine influence in their lives. Sit quietly. And you'll find God sitting quietly alongside you. God is your brother, your sister, your mother and your father. God is your friend. All we have to do is sit quietly, and the most delicate influence of spiritual impressions will fill us, move us, quiet us, protect us, calm us, and give us more than God is. God gives us more than God is. You will overcome the darkness of this world forever. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sculptor.